What's up, everyone? This is Trikker. I just wanted to make a quick video because I haven't made one in a while. I just wanted everyone to know that the reason I've not been making videos is actually a very good reason. I have found a programmer for the site, and we are in development of, I guess, PokerTrikz version 2. I'm going to keep most of the changes secret, but be known that the blog section will be working, and I'm going to keep the rest of the changes actually totally secret. Because they're just absolutely awesome. It's going to blow everybody away. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to thank everyone for kind of sticking with me so far and putting up with my lack of videos. But trust me, it'll all be worth it in the end. I'm so excited to get this stuff off the ground and going. As you can see, the new forums are up. I hope everyone likes those. Those were pretty cool. I'm really happy with how they look. So. Besides that, I just wanted to do a quick video. I'm not going to do a session today. I'm actually going to do a discussion of opening hand ranges and, how you can adapt your range and, kind of a general base strategy of a hand range concept. So that's what this video will be about, and hopefully I can get back to, normal video making soon. If anybody would like to make some videos in the meantime, get in contact with me, but it will all be solved soon once the new system is in place. I'm not really sure how long it's going to take, but hopefully it is soon. It is definitely started, and that's going to be on its way. So for the time being, let's go ahead and talk about opening hand ranges. So I'm going to be talking about a pretty basic hand range to start, kind of a good guideline for micro stakes players, even all the way up to something like 100 NL, probably even 200 NL. This is going to be it's going to be relatively tight, but it's going to be solid, and it's going to teach you how position and also the type of hand you should really be raising. So let's go ahead and get into that. Firstly, I'm going to use PokerStove just because it allows for a visualization of hand ranges much easier than just talking about hand ranges. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So firstly, we're going to talk about under the gun. Obviously, under the gun, you're going to be opening your tightest range possible, just being that, there's less people that you have a position on, and they're all going to act after you pre-flop. So, this is going to be your tightest position that you want to play in. So, first things first, we're going to open up any pair from pretty much any position. This, of course, does change depending on stack sizes, but we're going to talk about, we're assuming, mostly full stacks at your table for the time being. So you're going to open up any pair to start. Then we're going to go ahead and add, our suited aces down to ace-10 suited. And for our offsuit aces, we're going to add to ace-jack offsuit. We're also going to go ahead and add king-queen suited and king-queen offsuit. And then to kind of, I don't necessarily want to say merge our range, but to, add a few extra hands, we're going to go ahead and raise a few suited connectors. Depending on your style and whatnot, you might want to add, maybe an 8-9 suited and a 7-8 suited, but, this is really the range I like to stick to, the 9-10 suited plus, the ace-10 suited plus, the ace-jack off plus. So this is going to be kind of your generic starting range for under the gun. So it's going to be 12% of our hands. So let's go ahead and click OK, and we will copy this over to under the gun. That's going to be our hand range under the gun. Now let's go ahead and talk about under the gun +1. Actually, let me see if I can do this. Nice. Okay, so this is our under the gun range. So naturally, under the gun +1, you're going to open up slightly more hands. Again, you're not going to go crazy because you're still in very early position. Obviously, you've only got position on under the gun and the blind, so it's still not a great position. But you do kind of want to loosen it up a bit. This is probably going to be something like an ace-9 suited and maybe like an ace-8 suited. If you really wanted, you can stick to ace-10 suited plus, but I would definitely branch out to probably ace-9 suited and ace-8 suited. You might even want to add, an ace-10 offsuit, but more or less, you're actually going to start adding these types of hands, your suited connectors. Maybe go down to, an 8-9 suited now, maybe a king-jack suited. And, you know what, I would probably stick to that. Maybe a queen-10 suited here and there. I'm going to actually just go ahead and take the Queen 10 suited off for now. This is actually, as you can see, it actually didn't increase that much. It only increased about 2 to 2.5% of our hands. Again, because we're in really, really crappy position. So I would probably stick to this, and again, if your opponents are going to be very tight and you can kind of run them over, if you are looking to add more hands to your under the gun +1 range, it's going to be these hands right here, a 7-8 suited and a 6-7 suited. For now, I would actually turn those off though, and this is going to be our generic range right here. So go ahead and apply that. Copy this over to, some people actually call this middle position as well, so be it whatever you call it, under the gun +1 or middle position. That's going to be a pretty starting generic range. So now let's take that and let's go to the cutoff. Now that we're in the cutoff, you're actually going to see our range actually is going to make a huge step up. Even though we only increased by 2% from under the gun +1, we're going to add a lot more than 2% of our hands now, because being that we're in the cutoff, again, it's a whole lot better. You would think only changing one position, but now we're kind of considered a late position now, and being that the button is the only person that can 3-bet us, it's actually going to be, from being in under the gun +1, there's 2 people, so the cut from 2 people to one person is actually 100% better. Obviously, it's not just a 1% difference. It's actually like 100% difference. Cutting it totally in half is actually, very, very, very relevant. So, we're going to add, actually, how do I take that off? I'd probably do this, probably an ace-5 suited over an ace-7 suited, being that you can make, like, gut shots and stuff like that. It's actually probably going to have more equity than something like ace-7 suited, being with your opponent's calling range on the button and whatnot. If you actually think about this, the fact of having like an ace-7 suited compared to an ace-5 suited is not that much difference when, if you're making just a pair of 5, a pair of 5s or a pair of 7s, it's going to be pretty relevant in the long run, if you've actually, going to gain equity on your opponent's pair and getting value. So the fact that you're actually going to be flopping gut shots with an ace-5 suited compared to an ace-7 suited, it's actually going to be more relevant in terms of equity and getting it in against the, seeing a flop or whatever. So this is actually why we actually skip something like an ace-7 and ace-6 and go to ace-5 suited. Again, we're going to add, maybe an ace-9 and an ace-8 offsuit, like a king-jack. Being in the cutoff, you can probably open a queen-10 and a queen-jack, a jack-10. But again, we're going to mostly be sticking. If you see, our suited hands are actually going to increase a whole lot faster than our offsuit hands. And it's not because, well, they are better, but I mean, if you actually think about it, you're not really playing for top pair that often. You're playing more for, if you're getting it in, you're playing much bigger pots. And being still in, not the button, again, we're going to be looking to win medium to largest type pots, and you're going to be doing that much more with the suited type hands than the bad offsuit type hands. So more often than not, this is going to grow much slower than this. But now that we're in the cutoff, we're actually going to be opening up much more suited hands. A lot of this is going to come down to how comfortable you are playing. A 6-7 suited plus is probably a decent range. And then talking about these hands, we're going to be playing like a king-10 suited, a queen-10 suited, a jack-9 suited. I think this is a pretty good cutoff range right here. Again, if you're interested in adding hands, you might want to go to a 6-5 suited and 8-10 suited. But I think this is a pretty solid range right here. I'm actually trying to think. Queen 9 suited is not horrible in the cutoff. I could actually see that being opened as well. That's going to be a pretty solid hand. That one hand isn't going to make that much of a difference. So I think this is a pretty solid cutoff range here. Again, we're talking about a pretty basic, generic strategy here. And a lot of this is going to be changed by a hand or two, depending on your table conditions. But I think this is a pretty solid cutoff range for a lot of beginning players. Not necessarily like total beginners, but players that would be coming to PokerTrikz to get better. That you are aware enough of poker as a whole that you would be coming to PokerTrikz. So Now that we get to the button, you're actually going to see a very, very, very large increase. I actually play probably more than 50% of my hands on the button, but again, we're going to talk about a pretty basic generic strategy here. So first things first, you're going to want to add all your suited aces. One thing that's actually quite interesting is a lot of times I open up any ace on the button, but I've actually noticed that I would much rather probably just do this and probably stop at ace-7 offsuit, specifically for players that are still trying to build the post-flop strategy, like their post-flop skills. This would actually be a very, very important thing, that you're going to get used to playing, bad aces from the button through your suited aces. So, you could probably just go down to ace-7 off and not be losing too much equity by playing some of these bad aces. You're going to want to, branch out into a few more offsuit type hands. I'd probably say an 8-9 off plus. Actually, probably a 7-8 off. And we'll take the 7-8 off. So there we go. That's going to be our offsuit hands. This is now where you're going to see a very large increase of suited hands. I would actually open up 4-5 suited plus. By the way, there is actually a huge difference to me between 4-5 suited and 4-3 suited, being that you can still make all of the straights with 4-5 suited, but once you hit 4-3 suited, you lose an entire straight out of it, being that you would need, ace-deuce 5, and you're going to lose a straight out of it. So, 4-5 suited plus, and as you're going to see now, we're going to add a lot of suited type hands, because again, you're going to be taking it down with a continuation bet and pre-flop more often than not. That's really where why you have such a wide range on the button, is because the money you make from stealing the blinds is going to be a very, very large amount. And it's going to work such a high percentage of the time when you are on the button. There's only, obviously, the blinds left to act after you, and you're going to take down the blinds more often than not. But and then you're going to c-bet and take it down a lot as well. But for the times that you do get, see a turn or a river, and you're going to be playing a large pot, being that you're on the turn of the river, you're going to want to weight your hands to be much easier to play. Something like, King 5 offsuit is going to be very, very, very difficult to play, or something like a 4-6 suited is going to be much, much, much easier to play, because it's going to be very obvious, like, I've got a pair and a flush draw, I'm getting it in, or I've got, 2 pair, I've got trips when it comes like 6-6, king or whatever. So it's going to be much easier to play than something like, King 5 offsuit, where you've got like a top pair, but you're still like, it's a top pair with a 5 kicker, so you're going to get out kicked a lot. Where when you're playing suited hands, something like 4-6 suited, you're not really worrying about getting out kicked, because you're not getting it in with a top pair very often. So this is why we're actually playing these types of hands, being that we're not really looking to win big pots with 4-6 suited. We're looking to win a lot of small pots, and we're looking to give up the medium pots, and when we get it in, we're looking to get it in with huge draws, so we're getting in with 50% equity or whatnot. So this is actually why you're going to be playing a lot of these types of hands. Now, again, you're going to now look at your, these are our gappers. You're actually going to start playing on double gappers with 8-jack suited, 7-10 suited, I would say 6-9 suited, probably even a 5-8 suited. And then we're going to look at a few suited kings, like a king 9, probably a queen 8, jack 7. I'd probably stop there. You could add 6-10 suited if you want, but I would much prefer this. And then, this is probably a good range right here.